Hey guys, I'm back with a new video. In this video, we will completely demystify the window object or JavaScript. I will cover some of the most important topics related to the window object that you must have an understanding of. So in one of the starting videos of this series, I told you that window object is a global object provided to us by the browser. It is inside this window where our script runs and gets exposed to the JavaScript code as a global variable named as window. Also, when you open multiple tabs in your browser, each tab is represented by its own window object, which you can access using the global variable window, and it represents the tab in which your JavaScript code is running. So on the window object, we can use a variety of methods, objects, and constructors as well. Let us learn some of the most important ones in this video. First, let us log the window object to the console. So I can say console.log window, and let us go back to the browser to see the output, and you can see we are getting the window object logged to the console, and there are a variety of methods, properties, and constructor functions available on the window object, which we will see in action in this video. So you can see that there are tons of properties and methods available on the global object window. Let us understand some of them. First, let us discuss about the properties of the window object. So if I want to check whether the current window is closed or not, I can say checking if the current window is closed or not, console log window.closed, and let us go back to the browser to see what we get. You can see we are getting false because the window is active, it is in open state. Now we have been using console logs all around in the projects that we made to see what we get after each step of writing functions for our business logic of our applications. Now this console object is itself sitting on the window object. I can also say console.log as, let me show you here. So I can say window.console.log and hi there, and you can see this works as well, because the console object is itself defined on the window object, and you can even omit the window object and just say console.log, and that works fine as well. Next, in order to get the device pixel ratio of the active window, I can say getting the device pixel ratio. So console.log window.device pixel ratio, and let us go back to the browser to see the output, and you can see we are getting 1, and what it represents is it is the ratio of physical pixels to that of the device independent pixels in the current window. Next, to get a reference of the document that the window contains, I can say referring the document object. So console.log window.document. And now if I go back to the browser, you can see we are getting the document object being logged to the terminal. It represents the entire HTML document, the entire markup that represents the HTML document with the body tag and the script that was auto-injected by our live server. And currently we are not having any HTML, so we are not getting that. Next, to get the element in which the window is embedded, I can say getting the element in which window is embedded. So console.log window.frame element. So it gives us the frame in which our window is embedded. So if we go back to the browser, you can see we are getting null because our window is not embedded inside an element. Now let us learn about the history object available on the window object. The history object contains the browser history. You can also omit the word window and just say history, and that will also work fine as well. So in essence, the history object contains an array of all the URLs visited by the user. Let us see an example where using the history object you can move forward, you can move backward, or to any particular page using various methods available on the history object. So let's go back to the HTML file and prepare some markup there. So right here, let us paste the markup. So here you can see we are having 3 buttons. So first button has an ID of back, second one has an ID of forward, the third one has an ID of go. The first button is supposed to move back. So if we click on that button, we should be redirected to the previous page. If we click on the forward button, we should be directed to the forward page, which is the next page. And if we click on go, we should be redirected to a specific page. So if we click on the back button, we should be able to load the previous page. If we click on the forward button, then we should be able to load the forward page. And if we click on the go button, we should be able to load a specific page, not just one page to the right or left, any specific page. So let us go back to our script file and let us get the references to all our buttons. So I can say const back button document.querySelector back, then const forward button document.querySelector forward, and const go button document query selector go. So now we have the references of all our buttons using their IDs. So let us do event bindings now to the elements whose references we got from the DOM. So I can say back button dot add event listener, and we will listen for the click event. And once that happens, let us define a function move back, then forward button dot add event listener, and once a click event happens on the button, we should move forward. And then go button dot add event listener, on the click event, let us define a function move by more than one step. So let us go right here and define these functions. So function move back. Now to load the previous page, I can say window.history, and on the history object I have a back method, and this will produce the same effect as clicking back in the browser. Now let us copy this and paste this down below and change this to move forward. And on the history object we also have a forward method to load the next page, and this produces the same effect as clicking forward in the browser, which are these buttons. On hovering, it says click to go back, hold to see history, and click to go forward, hold to see history. So these are our back and forward buttons, and the same behavior is implemented by these methods on the history object. Now let us copy this method and paste it down below and change the name to move by more than one step. Now to load a given page number in the browser, I can say change the method name. So on the history object we have the go method, and this takes on a delta which represents the distance from the current page you want to move. So if you say -1, you are saying I want to move to the previous page. If you say -2, then you want to move one page previous to the previous page. So let us say 3. So I want to move 3 pages to the right or 3 pages forward, and this produces the same effect as pressing the forward button in your browser as many times, so currently 3 times, to load a specific page. Here we are saying that move forward by 3 pages. So now let us test this out. So right here, let us first go to a different tab and open google.com here, and then let us copy our localhost link, paste it down here, press enter, and then let us also try to go to twitter.com. Next let us try to go to dev.to and then say medium. So let us go back now. So we are back to our local host. So now we have all these pages loaded in our history of pages. So if I click on move back, you can see we are going to google.com because it was the previous page. And if we click on move forward, you can see we are now directed to twitter.com. And if I say move to third page from the current page, you can see we are going to medium.com. So this was the reason for opening these many sites, to show you the functionality of these three methods. So now we know how the back, forward and go methods work. Let us see some properties like inner width, inner height for the window content area. So to get the inner width, which denotes the width of the content area, I can say getting the width of the content area. So console.log window.innerWidth, and to get the height of the content area, I can say window.innerHeight. So let us go back to the browser to see what we get, and you can see the inner width is 1920 and inner height is 969. So let us resize this and make a reload, and you can see now the inner width is 902, the width of the content area, and the height is 969. So this was all about the history object that I wanted to cover. Next, let us learn about the location object that is available on the window object, and this provides a site's URL information. To get the information of the current page, we can make use of certain properties. So let us try to get the origin of the website, which is the base URL that includes the protocol, the host name and the port number as well. So for that I can say getting the origin of the website, and this includes the protocol plus the host name plus the port number. So I can say window.location, and on the location object I have a origin property. And let us go back to the browser to see the output, and you can see we are getting the entire local host. So we have the protocol, then we have the host name, and then we have the port number right after the colon. Now to get the protocol that our website is using, I can say getting the protocol. So window.location.protocol. So let's go back to the browser to see what we get, and we are getting HTTP:. So currently we are running on localhost, and localhost runs on HTTP. Now to get the host name, we have two other properties available on the window object, which are host and host name. So I can say getting the host and host name. So console.log window.location.host and console.log window.location.hostname. So with the host, you can see we are getting the port number as well, and if we just say host name, then we get only the domain name. Now to get the port number, I can say console.log window.location.port. So getting the port number, and you can see we are getting 5500 as the port number. Now next, to get the path name, I can say console.log window.location.pathname, and you can see the path is /index.html. Now this gives us the path of my index.html file relative to the main folder of our tutorials. Now to get the query string portion of our current URL, which you can see currently we are not having any query strings here. Now to pass a query string, I can say question mark and the name of the query string, which is game. I set that to 2, press enter, and now let us try to access this query string. So to get the query string portion of our current URL, if any, if we have a query string, so I can say console.log window.location, and on the location we have a search property. So let us go back to the browser to see what we get, and you can see we are getting the query string. And here what I can do is I can split at the equal to sign and get the value for that game query string. So let's see this out. You can see we are getting 2, which is the value for our game query string. Now if you want to play with other properties on the window object, feel free to check out the official MDN docs. The link for the documentation can also be found down below the video. Now let us see some methods on window.location on the location object. So some of the important methods on the location object are, location object. First is the assign method, and what it does is it is used to navigate or redirect to the given URL. Navigate or redirect to the given URL. Now one thing you need to keep in mind about this method is that it saves your current page in history. So it saves your current page in history in the browser history. So you can easily navigate back, which is not so in the replace method that I will discuss in just a minute. So now comes the replace method, and it is also used to redirect or navigate to a given URL. So let me copy this. But it does one thing extra over assign method, and that is it returns the current page from the session history. Returns the current page from the session history. Then we have the reload method on the location object, and this method is used to reload the current page. Next we have a method called as toString defined on the location object, and it just returns us the URL. So returns the URL. So let us try these methods. So first I will try the reload method, and then we will talk about these two methods, which are assign and replace. So I can say window.location.reload to make a reload of our current page. So if I go back to the browser, you can see the page is getting reload each time because the script is running. So let us comment this out. If I now log to the console, window.location.toString, and that is a method as well. So let us go back to the browser to see what we get, and you can see we are getting the entire URL, which includes the query string as well, which we passed. So now let us move forward and understand the concept of page redirects. So we can use these methods. We can do page redirects using 3 ways. First is to use the href property on the location object, and we can set that to some URL. Second is the assign method, and third is the replace method. Now the differences between assign and replace methods are already clear to us, that href and assign will save your current page in the browser history, which is not true for the replace method. So now let us go over some of these methods that are available on the window object. Till now we covered some of the most important properties on the window object. So right here, let us make a page redirect, and I can say window.location.href and say https://google.com, and if I go back to the browser, you can see we are now redirected to google.com. So you can see it works fine. And I can also say window.location.assign and twitter.com, and let us go back to the browser to see what we get. Okay, so we got redirected to twitter.com. So now let us comment this out and try the replace method. So I can say window.location.replace and dev.to, and you can see we are now navigated to dev.to. And now let us comment this out. So now let us go over some of the methods that are available on the window object. Till now we covered some of the most important properties on the window object, the location object, the history object. Let us cover the second part of the video, which is methods available on the window object. Methods on the window object. We know about the alert method, and what it does is it displays an alert box. Well, that is also a method available on the window object. So I can say alert hi there, and let us see what we get in the browser. You can see we are getting the alert, so let us close that. And if I say window.alert, so alert is a method defined on the window object, and you can see it works fine as well. So let us comment this out. Now to set the focus away from the window, we have the blur method. So I can say setting the focus away window.blur. Now to close the current window, we have a close method. So I can say closing the current window.close, and you can see it gives us a warning saying scripts may close only the windows that were opened by them. If we open a window from this script from the window object.js file, then we can close that current window by saying window.close. Then we have a confirm method on the window object that displays a dialog box with a message asking for user confirmation. So I can say confirmation, so const user response window.confirm, and I can say are you sure, and let us log the user response to the console. Go back to the browser, click on OK. You can see that our script is closed, so it is not working. If I comment this out and I say OK, you can see now we are getting true. So this returns true or false depending on the user confirmation. If the user clicks on cancel, it will return false. Now to open a new window, I can say opening a new window, window.open, like this, and let us confirm this, and you can see a new window or a new tab gets opened using the window.open method. Let's close this out and comment this out right here. Now to scroll the window to a particular place in the document, I can say window.scroll and pass to that an options object. Let us add some lorem ipsum text to our HTML so that we can observe the behavior with our own eyes. So first let us add these properties: top as 1000 pixels, left as 100, and behavior set that to smooth. And right in my index.html file, I will add some lorem ipsum. So let us copy this paragraph multiple times to have some text on our screen. I think this should be enough, and let us see if it works or not. So first let us comment this confirm code, and let us go back to the browser to see if the scroll works or not. So you can see the scroll does work, and now we are at this position where from the top we are at 1000 pixels and from the left we are at 100 pixels. So let us comment this out. Now to scroll to a particular set of coordinates, I can make use of the scroll to method on the window object. So I can say window.scroll to, and from the top I want to move down by 1000 pixels, and from the left I want to move right by 100 pixels. Let us set the behavior as smooth, and let us check this out, and you can see it works fine as well. So let us comment this out. Now let us talk about registering event listeners on the window object. So registering event listeners, window.add event listener, and let us listen for the resize event. And on the resize event, let us invoke the function handle resize change. And right here, let us define the function handle resize change. And let us log here window got resized. And let's go back to the browser to see what we get. So let us try to resize our content window, and you can see we are getting the logs being logged to our terminal. So window got resized. And let us try to add another event listener on a window object, and I will name it as orientation change. And let us listen for the orientation change event. And once that happens, let us run the code handle orientation change, and let us define this function right here, handle orientation change, and I will log here orientation changed. So now to see this in action, let us go back to the browser, and right here what I will do is I will click on this toggle device toolbar in our developer tools, and then click on this rotate option. Okay, so this is not working, so there is a typo. Let's go back and again see if it works or not. So I will again rotate the device, and you can see orientation changed is getting logged to the terminal. And we can listen to various other events on the window object. The link for the complete properties and method set that is available on the window object can be found down below this video. So this was all about the video on the window object, where we covered what the window object is, the properties and methods available on it. We discussed about the history object, the location object, and page redirects as well. So if you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get the notification for all the upcoming uploads, and I will see you guys in the very next one.